is an organization that was established in 1961 to promote peace and friendship around the world. So far, we've worked in about 139 countries, and we've had about 200,000 volunteers to serve around the world. A lot of our projects focus on education, health, environment, HIV/AIDS, some of our core programs we support. We've been working in South Africa since 1997. Our two core programs here are Health HIV/AIDS, and the group that's going to be swearing in today is a Community Health HIV/AIDS group. And our largest program is education, because about 2/3 of our volunteers work in the education sector. They provide direct classroom teaching support, math, science, English, literacy, numeracy. They work on teacher training, and they actually do a lot of classroom management and working with in-school and out-of-school youth.
And how do people get involved in the Peace Corps to start with? And secondly, after they've been through the Peace Corps, what do they go on to do?
To serve as a Peace Corps volunteer, you have to be an American citizen, and they usually apply for the program in the United States, and they serve 2 years in the country of service. So all of our volunteers are American citizens. Part of what the Peace Corps does, our 3 goals, are to provide service and expertise to the host country that requests Peace Corps service. The second goal is to promote international understanding by learning about the country where you serve and then taking that knowledge back home and educating Americans about what Peace Corps does. So that's what we do, is really educating Americans about a country where they live and serve, also educating the host country about what it's like to be an American. In many cases, where our volunteers serve in the villages, is the first time that they've actually saw an American firsthand, up close and personal. So when they finish Peace Corps service, they return back to the U.S., and many of them go on to work in international development. There are a lot of former volunteers, we call them returned Peace Corps volunteers, that work in many government agencies and the State Department and USA, Department of Commerce. Many are in Congress. They go on to be governors and senators. So Peace Corps is a very good training ground for people to learn about international development.
In today's event, what is the significance of it, especially being the 50th anniversary as well?
Well, this event for us is the end of training. Our volunteers spend 2 months in training, and they live in a village. They get to learn about the culture, the language, about the country that they're going to serve in. And so at the end of their 2-month training, we usually do this formal ceremony, which we call a swearing-in service, and they take an oath of service to begin their Peace Corps work. So this is a ceremony to recognize the 2 months of training and the end of training for this group, so that they will be able to go off and begin their service. So as of today, they're not called trainees anymore, they're called volunteers. So for them, this is a major milestone. It's the first step toward becoming a Peace Corps volunteer.
When I say I, you should repeat your name. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the constitutions of the United States of America.
That I will support and defend the constitutions of the United States of America.
Against all enemies.
Against all enemies.
Foreign and domestic.
Foreign and domestic.
That I will bear true faith.
That I will bear true faith.
And allegiance to the same.
And allegiance to the same.
That I take this obligation freely.
That I take this obligation freely.
Without any mental reservations.
Without any mental reservations.
Or purpose of evasion.
Or purpose of evasion.
That I will well and faithfully discharge.
That I will well and faithfully discharge.
my duties as a Peace Corps volunteer.
my duties as a Peace Corps volunteer.
So help me God.
So help me God.
But today's an important day, and it's a very solemn day, and it's a day that should cause us to reflect on the ties that bond South Africa and the United States, and the ties that bond Peace Corps and South Africa. You know that it's the 50th year anniversary of Peace Corps this year, but the Peace Corps presence here in South Africa is not quite as old. It started only in 1997 as a result of discussions between then President Mandela and then President Clinton, where together they envisaged bringing volunteers to South Africa to help this country with a mighty effort that lay before it, which was to build a democratic post-apartheid society. And so you came, and you've been doing great work since 1997, just 13, 14 years. We've had almost 1,000 volunteers in South Africa, and now this group of 46 joins them. And it's really a tremendous event. And I thank you for your commitment, and I thank you for your service, and I thank you for your willingness to devote so much time of your lives. 2 years, that's a long time, whether you're at the beginning or whether you've taken the decision later on in your career to give back. It's really remarkable. And so as you head out into the 4 provinces where you are assigned, think of yourselves really as ambassadors for the United States. You're here to help South Africa achieve, progress in the top 2 areas that we consider at the U.S. mission as the most important, which is the fight against HIV and AIDS and the area of education. They are our top 2 goals.
I want to find out from any of you what your background is.
We are a couple, and we were teaching before we came to South Africa.
Okay.
I have a PhD in medical anthropology and a master's in public health.
I joined Peace Corps as part of the Masters International program, so I finished my coursework at the University of Denver Corbell School, and now I'm here as part of the practical side.
I'm a nurse practitioner from Peoria, Illinois, and I've been retired for 14 years, and this is the culmination of my service to the community.
I have a background in jewelry sales and a degree in psychology.
Okay. And then also, since you've come here, what have been your experiences so far?
We've had a wonderful homestay with a wonderful couple in the village of Mokopane, and we're looking forward to going to our site.
And we'll be in Botshabelo.
I think what's impressed me most about the South African people is like the idea of Ubuntu and how everyone helps out everyone else. And I'll be going to Showe KZN.
I think overall I came here with expectations, and they've kind of been shattered, but at the same time, just I've been exposed to more than I could have anticipated, and I will be working with Mole municipality.
Well, I found the country to be delightful and beautiful, and I had the privilege of working at Noi Bazi in Pomeroy, KZN, and I look forward to making service with that community.
Well, the hospitality of the South Africans have just been amazing. They've opened up their homes to us and their families. It's been quite an experience so far.
Yeah. This is Victor Baker, and he's the Peace Corps training manager. We're just going to find out from him a little bit more about the service training that the volunteers go through before they actually have to now start their work in the communities. Okay. So, Victor, can you tell us a little bit more about the pre-service training?
The pre-service training is meant to help them with the transition from their life in the U.S. to their life in South Africa. So when they come in, we try our best to make sure that they get to learn the languages of the communities where they are going to be deployed. and we also make sure that they learn the culture of the people where they are going to be serving for 2 years. Besides that, we also add, the information on safety and security, and also help them to stay healthy.
What ongoing support do they have as they go out into the community? Do you still keep in contact with them and see how they're doing?
Yeah. Once they are in the communities, they have the associate Peace Corps directors to make sure that they have the support that they need. They constantly talk to them, and wherever they need help, the APCDs help them. Yeah, but during training, during pre-service training, they are with the families in the communities here. From the families, they also learn the language, they also learn the culture. They stay with the families inside the houses, so they get to really learn more about the culture firsthand.
Okay.
Yes.
And in past groups that have been, what have been the feedback from people who have actually gone into the communities and done their service? What feedback have you gotten from them?
For most of them, the highlights is really the life-changing experience of, the growth within themselves as they get to learn more about South Africa and South Africans. But also the work that they do, they talk about some little, things that they do, and which really, for them, becomes a highlight when they change a boy's life and in terms of education, when they change somebody's views regarding to HIV and AIDS, the work that they are doing, and so on. Those are some of the things that really give them a good feeling.
Okay. Yes. And for the communities as well, what have their responses been to having the volunteers with them?
The communities, they really appreciate what Peace Corps is doing, because they know about the U.S., but not so much. What they know about the U.S. is what they see on TV and so on. Now, when they get to meet the real Americans in real life who come and stay with them, it changes the whole view of thinking that Americans are only rich people that we see on TV. They get to see and live with them and really learn to know Americans in a much better way. And they appreciate that, to see them getting to understand what Americans are all about.
It's far away, it's far away, it's far away, it's far away, it's far away. I hope it's far away, it's far away, it's far away, it's far away. Away